So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the difference between pursuing a career in psychology and pursuing scientific truth. I want to tell you about that because one of the things I've learned from trying to predict performance is that a whole lot of things that psychologists talk about, research psychologists, don't exist, really, at all. And I'm not saying that because I'm cynical about psychology, because I think that any human venture has to produce a tremendous amount of waste and nonsense in order to produce any increment in knowledge whatsoever. You know, so like if you're thinking that every piece of research is going to produce new knowledge, genuine knowledge, then you're naive, because there's lots of reasons why psychologists do research, and some of it is, well, because they have to, and some of it is because they have to train undergraduates, and so undergraduates basically have to do bad research because, well, you only have 4 months to do it, and you're really going to discover something new in 4 months? It's like, no. And then master's students are kind of in the same situation, is they're kind of getting up and running, and so they have to do some experiments, and they have to be doable in the time that's allowed, and they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know the statistics, so of course they have to do bad research, and then, but they're being trained at least in how to do it, and like most human enterprises aren't very efficient. So for example, what do you guys think is, what do you think's the average percent of profit that a typical, say, North American corporation makes over like a 50-year period, if you averaged it? What's a good rate of return? 10%. Anybody else? 25? Anybody else? 3. Anybody else? Okay, so 3 is the most accurate guess so far. Now, it's a little higher than that, but not much. And you can kind of tell that because if business produced a higher rate of return than, say, 3 to 7%, no one would put their money in the bank. They'd all put their money in the stock market, right? Because how much do you get right now if you put your money in the bank? Nothing, right? 1% maybe if you're really lucky. So obviously business has to produce more of a return than that, or everybody would put their money in the bank. But it's not a tremendous amount more. And so what that means is that for your typical corporation, 97% of what it does is merely to keep itself running. Only 3%, 5% is profit. So why would you expect anything different in scientific research? It's like 95% of it's probably rubbish. But 5% is a lot when you think that there's tens of thousands of research papers being produced, you know, on a monthly basis. So how fast do you want things to move forward? To me, in some sense, I think they're moving forward fast enough, right? I mean, it's already hard to keep up with things like phones or anything electronic because they change so frequently that, you know, you have to continually force yourself to readapt. So it's not even obvious how fast you want new knowledge to be generated. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm going to tell you a bunch of things that I think psychologists do wrong. But I'm not telling you that because I think psychologists do things particularly wrong. It's that almost everything that people do is mostly just to keep things going. And then there's this little fraction of the enterprise that might be profit or its equivalent in scientific endeavor, which would be the generation of new knowledge. And so you don't want to be cynical about that.